if I had to start dropshipping all over again, here's exactly what I'd do differently and what I wish somebody told me back in 2020. Trust me when I say the value that you're going to get from this video, you will not find anywhere else. After watching this, you'll know exactly what you need to do to succeed in dropshipping. My name's Theo Clarke and I've been in e-commerce for the past 5 years. Not only have I sold a dropshipping store, but I also owned an e-commerce advertising agency for 3 years. And recently I completed a challenge here on YouTube where I launched a brand new dropshipping store and documented the journey, going from zero to over $10,000 in sales in just 32 days. And I did so whilst maintaining a 45% net profit margin. That's 4.5k in profit from just $10,000 in sales. And last month, that same store did $44,000 in sales at a 48% net profit margin. In this video, I'm going to explain how you can do the same. And for those of you that stick around, I'm even going to give you free access to my private dropshipping group. So let's get into it. So first and foremost, be very careful who you listen to. Now, what do I mean by this? Well, if you have too many people telling you different things, then it's very likely that you're going to have conflicting information, okay? You've got one guy over here on YouTube telling you to do one thing. You've got someone over here in a school dropshipping community telling you another thing. You're part of a Discord group here who telling you to do something else. Maybe you've got a friend who's done a little bit of dropshipping. He's saying, no, I found success doing it this way. And the problem is, you're here, this person telling you this thing, this person this thing, this person that thing, and you've got all of these different sources telling you all of this information. So you over here don't know what to do because all of that information is conflicting, and your brain starts to do something like this, where everyone's telling you something slightly different. So rather than take action, you do the worst thing and it leads to inaction. Okay, I call it analysis paralysis. There's too many different sources, too many different people telling you different things, and therefore you do the worst thing of all. Because you can't make sense of it, you do nothing. So rather than jump from video to video, person to person, you need to find one source of truth. And that source should be your North Star, okay? Because by having one source of truth, you have clarity, and clarity is the most important thing when you want to make progress, okay? I even do it myself, okay? If I know what I'm working towards and I know how to get there, the last thing I want is to be indulging in YouTube videos or sharing my plans with other people, because they're always going to give their own opinion. And a lot of the time, I don't want to hear that. I've already got my mindset, I already know what my vision is, and I know how to get there. Therefore, I already have clarity. External sources are just going to add confusion unless you're confiding in someone who has done what you're trying to achieve and can offer their honest and unbiased perspective. So just be very careful who you listen to and try not to introduce too many different sources because it's just going to get confusing. Next up is forget all the noise, okay? Dropshipping this, dropshipping that, you've got AI dropshipping, EU dropshipping, it's all the same thing, okay? All we're really doing here is e-commerce. To really simplify it, we're just selling products online, okay? So don't get caught up in all of these trends like the next big thing is AI dropshipping, or to succeed in dropshipping, you only have to sell in EU markets, you can't do tier 1. There's just so much conflicting information once more that all it does is add confusion. But if we really boil it down to its simplest form, all we're doing is selling products online, and that really shouldn't be that complicated, okay? Dropshipping itself is just a fulfillment method, okay? It's just the process of getting a product from A to B, okay? Usually dropshipping from China to anywhere else in the world, okay? Global. And the way it works is we are here as the e-com store. Then we have our customer here as customer A, who places the order with us. And then what we do is we notify the supplier. Here's the supplier. They then ship the product to the customer. And it really is that simple. We're just operating almost like a triangle. And we up here are the middleman between the supplier and the customer. And that is all that dropshipping is. It should not be confused, okay? Dropshipping, when done correctly, is a fantastic business model because it's low risk, high reward, right? You don't take on any risk. Sure, you build the website, you do the research, you list the products, and then the customer is online, finds your website, purchases the product, and you ship it from the supplier to the customer. Dropshipping itself is just a fulfillment method, not a business model. Remember, all we're doing here is e-commerce. So you should just focus on the fundamentals of e-commerce, which is building a brand, building an online business that is trustworthy and fulfills the customer's expectations. So this kind of leads back to the first point, right? Just be very careful who you listen to, because everyone's trying to preach the best next thing, this version of dropshipping, that version of dropshipping, when remember, all we're doing here is e-commerce, and it doesn't need to be complicated. Next up, we have the business fundamentals. Maybe you've heard the saying, men lie, women lie, numbers don't. All right. And what do I mean by this? Well, what's the first thing that any prospective buyer looks at when they want to purchase a business or when they're willing to invest into a business? The first thing they say is, show me the profit and loss, because that's where you're going to find the truth. It doesn't matter how fancy or how good a business looks on the outside. The only thing that any person is truly interested in, and what you should be interested in as well as the business owner, is the profit and loss, the P&L. This is one of the most important things when building a business, and I study mine vigorously. Every single day I know what my profit is, and I know what my net profit for the month is. Exactly how earlier I was able to tell you what my net profit was when I launched the store, and also what my net profit was just last month. Because I study these numbers. I need to know these numbers to be able to make informed decisions. A bit like earlier when I was saying, find your North Star and use that as your sources of information. Well, when you launch your business, your North Star is your business economics, it's your numbers. I always say the truth can be found in the data, okay? Study your numbers and you'll find the answers. If something is out of alignment, if there's a number that doesn't look right, look into it, and normally you can always find the cause. And unfortunately, it's one thing that you don't learn in school, but probably the most important thing when it comes to any business, whether that's an online business or a brick and mortar business, and that is the business economics. The numbers need to make sense. And it kind of ties back into what I was just saying about the first thing that any prospective buyer will look at, and the thing that I study rigorously as a business owner, is my numbers. If your numbers don't make sense, then you do not have a viable business. What do I mean by this? Well, the first thing I look at when I'm launching a new product or a new business is the business economics. What do I purchase the product for? What can I sell the product for? What am I likely to spend on my advertising costs? And then what profit do I have left in between? If these numbers don't make sense pre-launch, then why are they going to make sense after launching the product? All right, it's very easy to calculate this beforehand. So all you need to know is your COGS, okay? Your cost of goods sold. So that is your product cost, your advertising cost, assuming you're using paid ads to generate a sale, shipping cost, which kind of ties back into the product cost, right? You have the product cost and the shipping cost. And then, of course, is any transaction fees. Transaction fees are just simply the fees that the payment processor takes in order to process the transaction, right? Say someone places an order through PayPal, PayPal take their percentage. If someone places an order through Shopify, Shopify take their percentage. It's usually only a few percent, but it's still something that needs to be taken into consideration. Now, what you do is once you calculate all of these costs, you compare them to the sale price of the product, so the price in which you're selling the product at, and the difference between these costs and your sale price is, of course, your profit, the money that you get to keep. It's extremely important that you understand these numbers, because if you don't, it's just a stab in the dark, right? I study these numbers and I calculate them vigorously before I even bring a product to market, before I even add a product to my store. The business fundamentals, the economics need to make sense. Now, it's not always possible to calculate the advertising cost until you begin advertising, but there are ways where you can project what it is likely to cost using free tools online, using tools such as Google Trends and Google Keyword Planner. Now, I'm not going to do a deep dive on them in this video because I've explained them in detail in my other YouTube videos, and I also show you how to use them inside of my free dropshipping group. So if you would like to join the group, like I say, it's completely free. Just see the link in the video description to join. In there, I have a sheet that you can use to calculate your cost of goods sold, and also I show you how to project your advertising costs using Google Trends and Google Keyword Planner. So if you are looking to start dropshipping and you have a product that you'd like to launch, I highly recommend that you start by calculating your cost of goods sold. And this is something that you need to take in your stride, okay? You need to take responsibility for this. When I started dropshipping 5 years ago, I thought this was the sort of thing that an accountant did, an accountant helped you with. Unfortunately, they don't, or at least not in my experience. The only thing that accountants are good for is telling you how much tax you owe. So do not rely on your accountant for this. Now, when you start filling in that cost of goods sold sheet and running through the numbers, you'll very quickly see that it doesn't really make sense to sell low ticket products. All right. There are many people out here who are dropshipping or trying to dropship, and they're selling $20, $30, $40, or even $50 products. Okay. Now, once you take into consideration your product cost, your shipping cost, your advertising cost, and of course the transaction fees, how much profit do you think is actually going to be left on a $30 or $40 sale? What would you say? Maybe $5 at best? So how many sales do you think you need to generate to make $50 in profit? Well, you'd need to generate 10 sales. What about $500 in profit? Well, you need to generate 100 sales, assuming that your profit per sale on a $30 product was $5. So that's 100 sales 100 people that you need to deal with for customer support, potential customer complaints. Not to mention that when selling low ticket products, a lot of the time it's low quality, low ticket junk that people don't even want anyway, which has a high return rate and high customer complaint rate. And you've got 100 of those to deal with. So what do you think makes more sense? This, or selling products that are $100 plus in price point? On my store, I sell products as high as even $400 or $500. And as I explained to you earlier, my net profit margin last month was 48%. So if I want to make $500, I only need to get 2 sales at $500. Based on a 48% net profit margin, that would equal $480 in profit from 2 sales. So what would you prefer, 2 sales or 100 sales? Now, the other benefit of selling high ticket products is the products are actually high quality and people actually want them. So not only is there less chance for returns, but also less customer complaints, more satisfied and happy customers, and all round easier for me. Which of these 2 models do you think is more scalable? 2 sales to generate $480 in profit, or 100 sales to generate $500 in profit? Not to mention what that looks like in the back end. In a recent video, I shared my team structure, and I'll illustrate it here again to you guys just for fun. So my team structure is me, a VA, and my private agent. And it looks a little something like this. I have a WhatsApp group chat where those 2 communicate with one another. My VA handles all of my incoming customer support, of which there's barely any, because I only need 2 orders to make $480 in profit. So as you can imagine, if I do 10 orders in a day, that's 10 customers, and maybe only 1 or 2 of them are going to reach out for any kind of support. So it's pretty straightforward. The VA then communicates with my agent. My agent is responsible for fulfillment, and they communicate directly with the supplier, who I do not have direct contact with, because all of the communication is handled between my agent, who then fulfills the product to the customer. And I have my VA who handles all of the customer support. So here's the customer. There we go. So I'm here, and all I focus on is listing the products and running the ads, which leads on to my next point. Start thinking like a business owner and stop thinking like a hustler. Okay, most people that are here on YouTube, or people that reach out to me who have had a bad experience with dropshipping, who haven't been able to get it on the ground, they're thinking like a hustler, or they're listening to hustlers. I see a lot of these videos online of other people in the dropshipping space making it so scammy. Okay, they're ripping other people's stores, stealing their ads, launching these pump and dump businesses that are here today and gone tomorrow, because they're always one step away from getting shut down, where they've stolen someone else's ads, they're getting hit with copyright claims, Shopify DMCAs, they're selling poor quality products, so they have chargebacks, bad customer support, payment processors are getting shut down. This isn't a business. This is like walking into a casino and throwing all of your money onto red, which I don't condone either. And this is the problem. And this kind of leads back to everything that I was saying at the start of the video. Just be very careful who you listen to and make sure you find your North Star. There are so many people out here telling people to test 5 products per day until you find a winner. Now, how much do you think that costs to test 5 products a day on Meta or TikTok until you find one that takes off? Especially when we talk about the business economics and selling low ticket products, right? Because the people that are telling you to do this are the same people telling you to sell $20, $30, $40 products. The ones where you need to generate 100 sales just to make $500 profit. All you need to do is look at the numbers to realize, actually, fundamentally, this doesn't even make sense. And that's the problem. A lot of these guys that are teaching will show you a revenue screenshot of 100K in revenue, but what they won't tell you is that is a 10 to 15% net profit margin. So of that 100K in sales, they've made maybe 10 to 15K at best. And then you've got me, your North Star, last month, who did 44K in sales at a 48% net profit margin. So for ease of numbers, let's just do 50. That's 20K in profit from 44K in sales versus 10 to 15K in profit from 100K in sales, with tons more customer support, a business that's likely to get shut down anytime because you're selling low ticket products to unsatisfied customers. Fundamentally, what makes more sense? These are all the things that I wish I knew when I was getting started. I've tried the low ticket dropshipping, trust me, and you're constantly chasing your tail. You know, I've sold products that are even higher than $30 and $40. I was selling them where the price point was around about $80 or $90 with meta ads, chasing a 2x or 2.5x ROAS, thinking, oh, I just need more revenue equals more profit. It got to the point where I was generating about 40K per month and the net profit was next to nothing. If you think about it, it was similar to what these other people are doing, right? 40K in revenue at a 10% net profit margin, that's 4K. Keep in mind, I had a business partner, so that 4K was split in 2. So what I actually got was 2K, and even then we were too scared to take it out because it was so up and down. We were constantly testing, spending money on images, video creatives. It was just an endless battle. It was almost like a hobby that we weren't getting paid for. And we ran this for months, 5, 6, 7 months. We ran it through all of Q4, and despite some of our best months being 40, all we kept thinking was, oh, we just need to do 50K a month. Oh, we just need to get to 60 to 70, and then we'll be able to make a little bit of profit where we can take the money out of the business. The fundamentals don't make sense. Take it from someone who's been there. I'm very happy now selling high ticket products, making a 48% net profit margin, whilst everyone else in ecom is too busy doing this, selling low ticket, low quality junk that no one wants, because everyone has forgotten about the products that I'm selling. I just sell boring high ticket products that people are already looking for. So how do I actually do it? Well, I just advertise where people go when they're looking to buy things. You know where that is, right? Where do you go when you're looking to buy something? You go to Google, right? Whereas most people were advertising on Meta and TikTok. Who goes to Meta and TikTok to buy something? You don't. You go there to be entertained. You go there to look at your phone, to start doom scrolling, to see what everyone else is up to. You're not going there to buy high ticket products, which means anything that you do purchase is on impulse, okay? Because someone advertising on Meta needs to take you from entertainment to purchase. That's something that's incredibly difficult to do, which is why people are only able to sell $20, $30, or even $40 products, because they're having to take you from your phone being there for entertainment to then buying something, which isn't easy to do, which is why your image and video-based creatives need to be so strong in order to be able to do that. Instead, what I do is I sell high-ticket products to people who are already looking for them on Google. Now, why do I sell on Google? Well, as I explained earlier, that's where you and me and everyone else goes to when you actually want to buy something. We go to Google, you search for the product, and you click on an ad or an organic listing and you buy it. So what does it actually look like to advertise on Google? Well, there's a few fundamental differences that I'd like to explain. On Google, you pay per click, which is why it's also known as PPC advertising, pay per click, which means you get to advertise all day long and you only pay if someone actually clicks on your ad. The other benefit is listings on Google are text-based, okay? So because everything is text-based and Google is a search engine, it's called Search Engine Marketing, SEM, which means people search for the product that you're selling. That search then triggers your ad to be shown to that person who's already looking for the product that you sell, and you only pay if someone actually clicks on your ad, which is very different to Meta, okay? When I say Meta, I just mean Facebook and Instagram, because on these platforms you're billed based on your CPM, which is your cost per 1,000 views, which means you're charged for views, not for clicks. So even despite all of your efforts of building out image and video based creatives and paying per view, if people don't click them, then you're not sending traffic to your website, which means you're not going to generate sales. Plus, as we explained earlier, you're trying to take people from entertainment to purchase, which is much more difficult to do. Whereas on Google, the audience has high purchase intent, okay? High intent. Why? Because they're already searching for the products that you sell, which means your conversion rate, your CVR, is going to be higher. If your conversion rate is higher, that means your advertising cost is going to be lower. So taking all of these things into consideration, what do you think that means for you and your business? More profit, right? Higher conversion rate, lower advertising costs. You only pay when someone actually clicks on your ad. You're advertising to people who are searching for the products that you sell that have high intent. Therefore, at the end of the day, all of the metrics are in alignment for you and your business, which means ultimately you're going to make more profit, which is why we're doing this to begin with, right? To make money, to make profit. And hopefully you're starting to see how this all ties back in to the business fundamentals and the business economics that I explained earlier. The problem is most beginners are led to believe that Meta is the best place to start, and you're competing against people who have years and years of experience. These are big brands, right? That are going after the same audience, the same customers that you're trying to get in front of. They also have big budgets to spend on their image and video based creatives. So what actually happens? Well, this is what most beginners are then just led to believe that to win, they should just copy and steal ads from their competitors. Now, when you do this, you don't actually learn any skills, which is stealing at the end of the day, right? You think just because you're sat on your computer at home that you're not actually stealing, but you are. These brands have actual IP and they can make copyright claims against you. So when you've got these beginners out here that are being led to believe by other YouTube gurus to be just ripping other people's businesses, stealing their stores, stealing their ads, stealing their products, how short-lived do you think that is? I mean, not only have you learned those skills, but you're one snap away or one click away from being shut down. on. That is not a viable business. That's a quick cash run. That's a quick pump and dump. You've learned no skills, you're inauthentic, you've stolen from someone, and you're building zero long-term value. Not to mention, we've spoken about the profit, right? So you're going to do all that for what? 10%, 15% net profit at the end of the day. And that is the problem with most dropshipping stores, and why dropshipping has a bad name, and everything in the dropshipping space is seen as scammy because of people doing exactly what I've just explained. But there are real people out there, like myself, actually building real businesses. And this is reflected in my Trustpilot page. All right. I look at the Trustpilot pages of my competitors and they have 1 star. All right. You look at my Trustpilot page, guess what? 5 star. I make every effort to make sure that my customers are satisfied and that they're happy with the purchase that they've made of my products. When you put customer support, customer service at the forefront of the business that you're building, and you actually sell products that people are already looking for, and you sell high ticket products, guess what? You have happy customers. And happy customers equals more customers. Who'd have thought? So not only do the business economics and the fundamentals stack up, but you're actually building a business that has long-term value and real IP. So one day, if you do decide to sell it, and an investor comes and looks at your profit and loss, and they see a 48% net profit margin, 5-star Trustpilot reviews, branded products, and actual demand for the products that you sell, what do you think that brand is going to be worth? Take it from someone who's previously exited a dropshipping business, okay? The first dropshipping store I built back in 2020, I went on to exit it in December of 2022. Now, I did this by building branded, niche-specific high-ticket dropshipping stores, which is exactly what I teach to my students inside of my program. And I say this to anyone that I work with, okay? Mentorship is a two-way thing, all right? You have me over here with 5+ years experience in e-com, previously sold e-commerce dropshipping stores, selling high ticket products and maintaining crazy high net profit margins. And then you have yourself over here as a beginner. Totally fine, right? Everybody starts somewhere, but you do not have this experience. But you can access this experience by investing in my knowledge. Sure, it's a financial investment for you, but what you gain access to is this, which means you then get those 5 years of experience plus my bespoke guidance that is specific to you and your situation. So as I always say, it's a financial investment for you, but it's a time and energy investment for me. Who do you think is going to win? The guy over here that is the complete beginner who does not have access to all of this information, or the guy who makes the investment, joins the program, works with me directly, gets access to my 5 years of experience and has me in their corner? I think you know the answer, right? And that is why mentorship as an investment pays for itself 10 times over. Yet the problem is most of you are stuck right here, which is exactly where we started at the beginning of this video. You've got information that is conflicting coming from all these different sources. And so what happens is you either take the wrong course of action, which leads to failure, or you don't take any action at all, which also leads to failure. The choice is yours. You can continue being in this mess here, and that's probably what your brain looks like right now, with all of this conflicting information and what I call analysis paralysis, or you can actually make a start, just like my students did. And the one thing I always say is if you're not moving forwards, you're moving backwards, because time is regressing, and that is the most expensive currency of all, right? Time is the only thing that we all have a finite amount of, and if you're not moving forwards, you're moving backwards because someone else is going to overtake you. There are guys out here who are willing to put it on the line, invest in mentorship, and guess what? Those are the guys that get ahead. Not only do they get ahead, but the mentorship pays for itself 10 times over. So let me show you some results of people who took action. So here is the Trustpilot page for my mentorship program, the Google Ads Ecom Academy, and as you can see, to date we have 26 reviews, all of which have been 5-star, which is exactly what my e-commerce store Trustpilot page looks like. There's some consistency there, right? And this is another thing I want to highlight. Right? If you're looking to learn from someone who has a 1-star Trustpilot review on their e-commerce store, and that is how they treat their customers, how do you think they're going to treat you as a customer as well? Do you think they genuinely care? Because most of these dropshippers just do everything they can to keep the business alive and make as much money as possible, but they do not actually care about the customer. And I'm willing to bet that the way they treat their customers for their e-commerce store is the same way they're going to treat you inside of their mentorship program, which is why I'm emphasizing and highlighting this, okay? 26 reviews, all of which have been 5-star, and every single person inside of the academy is absolutely crushing. So you've got Mindergas here, who's been in for 1 month. He said everything is super clearly laid out. Theo's able to answer questions, provide guidance. In just 1 month, he's already sourced his products, built his store, and got everything up and running. Whilst most people spend years trying to decide on what product to launch and never even take action, has gone ahead and done all of that in just 1 month. Then we have Mike, who said he's been in the academy for 5 weeks. The level of knowledge that Theo has is unreal. This isn't some fake get rich quick scheme. This is years of knowledge and experience being passed on, saving me years of time and losses. Then we have Mateusz, who said he's been part of high ticket programs before. Some alright, some a complete waste of time. This is the best dropshipping ecom mentorship I've joined. It was the first time I felt like I wasn't just buying content, I was getting real mentorship. Theo's inside of the community, answering questions. He's super authentic and open. The roadmap is clear. The calls are actually helpful. And the whole thing is built around making sure you don't get stuck and second guessing. What stood out for me is you're not scamming people online and selling crap. So essentially low ticket, low quality products. You're actually building a real business, which is everything I've spoken about in this video, right? Actually building brand IP, selling products that people actually want, and building a business that is actually going to stand the test of time. We then have Dan, mentorship that delivers. Joining this program has been a game changer for me. I'm new to ecom and wanted a clear blueprint. Theo provides all of the information and content to make this happen, from creating the business to launching ads and becoming profitable. Whenever I'm stuck or unsure, I'll just DM. These results go on and on and on. I've even met some of my students in person and filmed podcasts. Down here with Fabian, when I was in Bali, I met with Fabian. He went from 0 to 70k per month in just 4 months. Prior to building an e-commerce store, he was an online coach and video editor, earning 2k per month, living paycheck to paycheck. We also have another podcast that I filmed with one of my students, Sasha. He flew out to Dubai and we went from 0 to €500,000 in sales in just 4 months. And again, this was another student inside of the academy. So as you can see, these are real students with real results. And as I mentioned at the start of this video, these are the things I wish I knew when I got started all those years ago back in 2020. What took me 5 years, my students are now doing in 4 months, which is absolutely crazy. I mean, just think about that. So if you're ready to take action and you want to work with me on a one-to-one basis, then click the link in the video description to learn more. I help complete beginners go from 0 to at least $10,000 per month in 90 days or less. And you'll be working directly with myself. So if you want to build time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom, then this is for you. See the link in the video description for more information. And that is all for this video. As I mentioned at the start, it was my intention to give you everything that you need to succeed in dropshipping, and hopefully I have delivered. If you found this video useful, please make sure to hit that like button, smash subscribe and drop a comment. I really appreciate it, and I will see you in the next video.